So when I was on my journey, and some of you have heard this, trying to figure out what I was going to do, I was at an Edgar Casey past life regression retreat, which happens, I think, to be Christian. And I was in a meditation. We were meditating for like 3 days. And I was in a meditation, and before me was this stream of light and threads spinning, spinning, spinning of gold. And I heard the sound of the shofar going through one ear, through my third eye, and out the other. And I heard this voice that said, "Go home." I'm looking around, I'm like, oh no, what, am I not supposed to be here? What's happening here? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Go home. So I told my friends I was leaving, I was packing up, I was going home. So I went home, and that Friday night, I was in my synagogue, which is a 3,500 family synagogue in Texas. And I was sitting there in the choir loft, which is elevated in front of like a wall that's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 stories tall, filled with turquoise and gold brick. And they do it big in Texas. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, is this home? Is this what's happening? Is this home? And right in the sanctification, this is the sanctification. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth. This is when you say, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, the Holy One, that lifts us up. And I knew at that moment that was home. That was my mission. That was my purpose. That's what I was supposed to be doing. Not up there, but down there on the bema. And then devoted my life to it. And that was like in the early 90s. So we're all on a journey. And when we look at the prayer, let us read to the bottom of page 171. When you're asleep, but when you are awakened, you have no choice but stay awake and move forward. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. And that actually just makes me want to cry, because that's what happened. God just like literally reached out and grabbed me in my meditation and grabbed me in the service. And if that had not happened, I would not be here with you today. And so we have to be open to that. And I just want to say, our president is going to come up and share some words about her trip to Israel. I just want to say that our Torah portion is Acharei-Mot. Sometimes it is a double portion with Kiddushin, which has the holiness code in it that's coming up. But as it stands alone, what it speaks about is, it starts with, you shall not eat the blood of an animal, specifically the sacrificial animal. But we are not meant to eat the blood of anything. Why? Blood is the life source, and within our blood is our soul. And it also goes on to say, and there's a lot of commentary on it, like, what does this actually mean in our world today? My daughter asked me to read her drasha for this Shabbat, and I was like, I think I should just read this to my people. Normally I could not read it to you because they're on such a plane. You have no idea. There's always so much Hebrew, and she's giving a drasha to some of the most learned, biggest scholars in Judaism on the East Coast at this time. But one thing was really interesting, because she's much more traditional than I am. Many of us in this room have been to psychics. I am not going to ask you to raise your hands. Some of us keep that to ourselves. Okay? I will be honest and say, there was a time when my whole life, I wanted to know in my 20s, what's happening, what's going to happen. In my 30s, what's going to happen. And I found one amazing psychic that said a lot of things. And this is an example. She told me the name of my future husband's sister, brother, and mother. She described what he would look like. So when this person entered my life, what would happen if I'd been told, I'm going to marry this person? So 3 weeks after he met me, he asked me to marry him. I stalled him for 3 months. I married him, and it lasted 11 years. However, it brought 2 great children. Would I have married him if I didn't know that? We don't know. How many have seen the movie Sliding Doors? You should rent it. Great movie. Well, we don't have to rent it anymore. I don't know. It's probably on some station, maybe Pluto or something. But this girl's life has certain things that are going to happen in it. Either she gets on the train and things happen in the course of her life, or she misses the train. And there were certain pivotal things that were supposed to happen, like does she have a child, whatever. But Aside from that, some of the superfluous details and some of the other things that are manifesting in our life, they change depending upon whether she caught this train or she didn't. So if we go to psychics and fortune tellers, and it's a very interesting thing because it comes up a couple times in our Torah, and I always like kind of cringe a little bit because I know what I've done. And I mean, that's great to, you hear the radio ads for 1-800 psychic or whatever, it's guaranteed. But Joseph, what was Joseph? He was a psychic. He was able to, think about what was happening in the future and, save people and save, Pharaoh and grain and reunite with his brothers. But we're not supposed to know the future. Do you know why? Because we are a people of the present. We are a people who remember the past, honor the past with all of our prayers. But we go to bed at night and we say the Shema, and we wake up in the morning and we say the Shema, thanking God for giving us this life back. But what do we sing on Shabbat on Saturday? Elohai Neshama. Thank you, God, for giving my soul back to me, the soul that is pure. So essentially, when we go to bed at night and we wake up, it's a new day. It's a fresh start. We don't have to wait till now, right after Passover, when we were redeemed, and this is actually our first New Year. So if you're wondering why I have so much energy, it's because of that. Or Rosh Hashanah. Every single day is a new opportunity for a fresh start. And that is why we are supposed to learn from the past, but keep our eyes looking forward, kadima, which is why we sing the Mechamocha. We knew what was behind us. We didn't know what was ahead of us, but we went forward. What if the Israelites were told by a psychic, if you follow that Moses and you listen to him, you are not getting into the promised land. You're going to go around and round and round the desert for 40 years and then not get in. You think they would have done it? No. And we wouldn't be here. So that's a big question. So you have to take it, and measure and weigh it. Can we kind of trust and have faith and hope that God will lead us? And it's the magical mystery tour of our lives? Or do we want to kind of know? And those of you who've been to a psychic, have you ever been told, well, I'm telling you this, but you have, basically free will. They don't use that word, but you can, especially if something doesn't happen, you can change the course by the decisions that you make. So even though I have been told to marry this person that I would see, what if I hadn't married him? I have that choice. And then the course is altered. So don't eat the blood of sacrificial animals. Think about when you order your meat extremely rare and the blood is pouring out. You might want to order it well done, like myself. And think about, what does it mean when you want to know the future? And what control do we have over it? And I'm not saying don't go, because I've been there myself. And sometimes there are days when I have to keep myself from not calling 1-800 psychic or looking up some of the great ones that I know. What's going to happen to Emet? Are we going to be okay? Are we going to have lots of money? Whatever. There's always things. Turn it over to God on a platter. As I said in High Holy Days many times, let go, let God, have faith.